For years, banks promised innovation, but they gave us fees and friction and fine prints. Today, all that changes. Introducing Private Key Bank from Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club, the world's first Bitcoin native credit union. Rebuilt from the ground up in the heart of El Salvador, a place where your Bitcoin isn't just stored, it grows. Earn 4% interest paid in Bitcoin, compounded, secured, and accessible. No middlemen, no hidden games, just your money working for you. Send funds across borders instantly, without SWIFT codes, without currency conversions. Pay anyone, anywhere, with a tap of a finger. This isn't banking as usual. This is freedom, beautifully engineered. The future of finance is finally here.
There we go. Hang on 1 second. Let me make sure I'm right here. Yep, I'm good. I'm good. All right, good. You're damn right, Jay. That's right. Guys and gals, I am so excited about today. I absolutely am ecstatic with what's going on right now. Now, remember what I told you a month ago. I had a friend, Washington, D.C. By the way, this Wednesday, we are going to have my friend from Washington, Dennis Porter, on the show this Wednesday to really break it down on the legislation and what's coming in the future. You guys, I cannot explain what a big deal tomorrow is. All right. I told you guys a month ago, watch for July 22nd. And they hadn't even announced it yet, but I heard from a guy in Washington, hey, July 22nd's the day. Well, it's tomorrow. Now, for those of you who are not history buffs like moi, let me give you a little history about July 22nd. Do you know what happened in history in America on July 22nd? Nope. Well, let me tell you. Abraham Lincoln revealed his Emancipation Proclamation on July 22nd. Do you know what the Emancipation Proclamation is? It is where the federal government relieved all of the citizens of America of their labor debt. The Emancipation Proclamation did not just free Black people. It freed everyone of what was called the labor debt. And that's why Trump chose July 22nd, because it is the anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. Yes, debt jubilee. Now let me explain why. Okay, there's a reason we're all hearing rumors that Jerome Powell is actually going to resign. Well, why would he do that? In fact, this morning I heard that our Secretary of Treasury, Mr. Basson, is going to be at the Federal Reserve tonight. Or is it tomorrow night? Let me tell you why he's going to resign. because as soon as the Genius Bill passed, the Federal Reserve was all of a sudden no longer relevant. And let me explain. What the Genius Act did was it actually took the creation of money monopoly out of the hands of the Federal Reserve. Because now any corporation, any entity, any crypto exchange, any fucking Michael Saylor could launch a stablecoin. Remember, in the old days, I say old days as in like last week, the only one who could print up US dollars was the Federal Reserve. If you wanted US dollars, you had to get them as a member bank. Remember, the Federal Reserve is a private organization that has members. Hence, the private key bank. There's a reason we called it private key bank, and we structured it as a member. You are a member of a private bank. Well, that's what the Federal Reserve was. They had, all right, exactly. Citibank is trying to make their own stable coin. Exactly. They no longer have to go to the Federal Reserve window and get currency. They can produce a stable coin on a blockchain just because in the old days, if you wanted currency, you'd go to the bank, to the Federal Reserve, and they would issue you currency that was actually based on treasuries. So you had three participants in this exchange. You had the Treasury that sold treasuries to the Federal Reserve, that set the interest rate on the money, how much the federal government would be paying on their treasuries. So then it would go from the Treasury creating the Treasury bond, and then they sell that to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve charges America, the Treasury, an interest rate. And then the Federal Reserve would actually sell the currency they created to the banks. They'd lend it out to the banks with an overnight rate, or a 1 year, or a 3 year, or a 4 year, or 10 year, what the fuck ever. They'd lend out dollars, right, to the banks. What this legislation does is it removes the Federal Reserve out of the system. It removes the middleman, right? Why would the Treasury Department, why would they go to the Federal Reserve, which is going to charge them 4.25% interest, when they can sell treasuries at 0% to every other bank, every credit union, every individual, everything at 0%? What exactly is labor debt? Taxes? Not initially, all right? Prior to the Civil War, we were under what was called common law. But in common law, there is no taxation from the federal government on individual labor. You can't do it. It's against the law. It's called slavery. Right? So you could not actually be a slave, let's call it a labor slave, to the federal government. But in the private industry, you could be. You could sell 7 years of your future labor to a plantation. Plantation. It's a legal term. A plantation is a private nation. Right? Plantation is a private nation. All right? A plantation is sovereign according to common law. Now, the sovereignty had a different name. It was called a trust. Right? A plantation is a legal term in the common law trust organization. We have a question, but stablecoin issuers cannot issue tokens out of thin air. They still need to have real dollars to pack 1-to-1 any. That's where you're wrong. They have to hold the treasuries, not the dollars. They have to hold the equivalent amount of treasury dollars, because a treasury, if you actually purchase $100 treasury bond, that is a representation, that's a derivative of $100 in a derivative that's called a treasury bond. So if you want to issue $100,000 worth of coins, you have to hold $100,000 worth of treasury bonds. So you don't have to hold the dollars. You have to hold the treasury bond. That's completely different. Think about that. You have to hold the treasury bond. That's the difference. You don't have to go to the Federal Reserve to get dollars, because what $1 is just a representation of a treasury bond value. That's all it is, right? Whenever the Treasury Department sells the Federal Reserve $100,000 treasury bond, the Federal Reserve holds that actual bond and then prints up $100,000 worth of paper money, which are the derivatives of the bond. You see what I'm saying here? Right? Oh, what this act actually does is it actually makes every issuer of a U.S. dollar stable coin basically its own Federal Reserve. All right. So now, up here at my bank, if I want to issue a stable coin to the US dollar, I'm going to have to buy treasuries. Well, guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to issue stable coins. You know why? Because I don't like the American debt. I don't give a fuck who's president. I don't need a stable coin. I don't need a Bitcoin Ben stable coin. Join my bank and get some stable coins. No, fuck that. That's basically saying, hey guys, let me sell you shit that's going to depreciate. That ain't my gig, guys. I'm here to get everyone involved in Bitcoin. Fuck the dollar. I don't even give a fuck about the treasury dollar. Don't give two shits or a fuck. Remember, that's two shits and a fuck. That's a lot of not giving a nothing. I will never issue a stable coin out of my bank. Fuck that. That's stupid. I'll use someone else's fucking stable coin. I want nothing to do with that pile of shit. But that's just me. Because I don't want to help the system. I want to replace it. And we will. It's just Hey, what's really going on right now is the Trump administration is basically slowly taking the system off of life support. That's what he's doing. Right? Because let's look at it like this. Let's say America is a human body. And for the last probably 15 to 20 years, we've had a breathing machine sitting right next to us. And it's called the Federal Reserve. All right. The natural breathing machine is the real American banks, the decentralized American banking structure. Well, that's our lungs. Right? Well, our lung system, our decentralized banking system has been living on a life support of the Federal Reserve. They have been pumping in oxygen into the lungs of America. Well, what Trump is doing is he's actually healing the lungs of America and actually creating more oxygen receptors in the lungs, because he's saying you don't have to be a bank, but what you have to do is hold our treasuries. So now Michael Saylor, if he wanted to, he could hold treasuries and issue a Michael Saylor coin. He ain't going to do that bullshit, but he could. All right, Walmart, here's a perfect example. Walmart will issue its own stable coin. It's probably called the Wally. All right, heads up on that. And all Walmart has to do is go and purchase treasuries, not from the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve does not produce treasury bonds. Only the Treasury Department produces treasury bonds. So Walmart can go directly to the Treasury Department and go, we want to buy $500 million worth of bonds. Okay. And the federal government doesn't have to pay any interest on those bonds, because in the legislation, it's those actual bonds are at 0%. Right now, the federal government is actually paying, like 4.25%? We're getting killed just with the debt obligations. Well, what if Trump, and this is what he's doing, what if he could issue new treasury bonds at 0% interest and then use that money to pay off the historical treasury bonds at a higher rate? There we go. That's how you pay off the debt. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. He's doing exactly what Abraham Lincoln tried to do, but got shot in the process. Hopefully Trump don't get shot in the process. Plus, it's too big now. It's legislative. They can shoot fucking Trump and it won't matter. Won't matter at all. Because if Trump gets shot, who's vice president? Voila, that's a Bitcoiner. You'd shoot a Bitcoiner just to get another Bitcoiner. Motherfucker, we're like herpes. Once you got us, you're done. Now we have infected the system. We're everywhere. There, mark my words, folks. 2028 presidential election, you're going to hear the biggest progressive, the biggest Democrat push Bitcoin like they ain't never pushed Bitcoin before in their life. You're going to have Elizabeth Warren showing up sucking Satoshi's cock. Because if you want to get elected, you're going to have to be a Bitcoiner. Because as this money shifts into Bitcoin and cryptos, there's going to be a whole lot of wealthier motherfuckers. Don't think Michael Saylor can't, but right now, Elon Musk is the wealthiest guy in the world. Give Michael Saylor some motherfucking time, man. Give the Winklevoss twins a little bit of time. And unless Elon's retarded, which I don't think he is, I think he's buying Bitcoin on the sly and just having a hot cup of shut the fuck up and hodling. Because like it says, I'm pretty sure on every vehicle my clubs have, join the new rich revolution. Because we are the new rich. We are the new influential people. You know what I mean. Oh, hang on a second. Jesus, all this talking and being right has made me thirsty. I'm telling you, nothing will dry you out like being right. Oh, man. There we go. Now, let's think about this. There's a reason. If you know Trump and if you pay attention to Trump, there's a reason that he chose July 22nd. Do you think he just woke up one morning and said, you know what? The third Tuesday from today, let's do it then. That seemed like a good day. Tuesday. No. He chose July 22nd because it is the anniversary of the first presentation of the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln. And what did the Emancipation Proclamation do? It was the first step to freeing the people of the labor debt. Remember, there were a ton. Benjamin Franklin was a runaway slave. Don't believe me? Google that bullshit. Benjamin Franklin had a labor contract with his brother at a print company, and he ran off on the contract. So his brother put out a warrant for Benjamin Franklin's arrest because he was a runaway indentured servant. Because when you are indentured, it means you have signed a contract of obligation. And that's what he did. But he didn't want to be working at the printer. He didn't want to be an apprentice to his brother. So he said, fuck you, I'm out. So one of our founding fathers was a runaway slave, I guess you could say. A runaway indentured servant. Now, hang on a second. My fire went out. Oh, God bless nicotine. I'm just saying, thank you for creating that, God. Shout out to God. Okay, now, the reason this is so significant is this was the first that led or that would lead to the creation of the Lincoln greenback. Now, after they shot him, they wiped that whole greenback idea out, but but that was his plan. Was Abraham Lincoln was going to launch what was called the greenback, and the greenback would be fully backed with silver, not gold, because the gold was the money of the elites. Everyone sits and says, "Oh, I miss the good old days when we were backed by gold." No, you don't, motherfucker. You think you do, but you don't. No, you want to go back to the good old days when our currency was backed by silver, because silver was the average man's money. Right? Now, do you want to know why they created the Federal Reserve? Let me tell you why. The gold rush of the 1800s here in America, because a lot of wealthy people who held gold, their gold was devalued because all of a sudden there's a shit ton of it. And that's why they're like, okay, we need to get out of the gold system gradually, because motherfuckers can go out in their backyards and dig up gold. That devalues our money. We never wanted a gold-backed dollar. What we wanted was a silver-backed dollar. Hell, in the old days, they used copper. They used fucking nickel, hence the name nickel. They didn't want to use gold because the gold was, all of the people in Europe had gold. The French had gold. We didn't want our currency tied with their money, because then they could infiltrate America using their gold, because they didn't have a whole lot of silver, not in comparison to Mexico, which is why we called it the dollar, right? That was a name from the not really Mexican, more of a Spanish term called, I think it was actually dollar, or something like that. You get the fucking point, right? And now this is the new transition, except Trump is setting this. This is a long plan, guys. Long plan. You got to play long ball here. As the Bitcoiners get richer, guys, think about this. Why do you think Trump has gone balls deep into Bitcoin? Think about this. How do you lock in the electorate for the next 100 years? You make all your fucking supporters wealthy. That's how you do it. So Trump, look at him on fucking Truth Social. Buy Bitcoin. Hey guys, have you heard of Bitcoin? Hey, Bitcoin, look at that. Look, we're gonna pass this. My kids are mining Bitcoin. I own some Bitcoin. Fucking everybody in the cabinet owns Bitcoin. Because during this term, he's going to pump your bags. And not just the price of Bitcoin, he's going to pump the industry, because he's He's replacing the old structure. Look, JP Morgan isn't bad as a corporation. It's the system. It's the Federal Reserve System and the corruption of the money that makes JP Morgan Bank bad, because they have to play in a crooked system. I'm not saying Jamie Dimon isn't sucking Satan's dick. I'm not saying he's a good guy, but he's a bad guy in a bad system. And unfortunately, for the last, since 1913, they have been pissing on us and telling us it's rain. Well, that shit's over now, guys. All right? Yeah. Look at this. Uganda just found $12 trillion worth of gold. Uganda. Somebody look at a map and show me where the fuck Uganda's at. Right. How? Look at El Salvador. They found over, what was it, $4 trillion in one motherfucking mountain? That's just one mountain. Have you been to El Salvador? You know how many fucking mountains they got? A lot of mountains. And I'm not saying every mountain's full of gold, but fuck, if you got one, odds are you got two. Yeah, it's weird. And Trump, why would he knows, that's why he went to the Bitcoin 2024, letting everyone know, hey guys, yeah, I'm a Bitcoiner, let's get some Bitcoin. And he's always said, don't sell your Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin. All right? Now, you gotta think like Trump. Trump's a billionaire. Trump's 80 years old. He ain't looking for money. He's looking for legacy. And remember, who's Trump's favorite president? Andrew Jackson. What's Andrew Jackson known for? Taking out central banks, being the central bank antichrist. You don't think Trump wants to fucking make his mark in history and say Trump set up the new system? Trump is not a nibble around the edges type of guy. He's a let's go, spread them, I'm going balls deep type of guy. That's what Trump is. He ain't here to tweak the system, kind of do a little something here, a little something there, a little something here. No. He's a bull in a money printer shop. And he's taken out all the money printers who have fucking robbed us with interest rates. What we've all said, why do they charge us a fucking way? Why are we paying to print our own fucking money? It's ours. No, it ain't. We lost that in 1913. Treasury is ours. The Treasury Department. It's why they call it the motherfucking Treasury Department, because that's where they hold the treasure. And what is the treasure? It is the accumulated value of American production and asset value. That's what the Treasury is. And we outsourced it to the Federal Reserve, who turned around and fucks us with interest rate, which causes, without interest rate, you don't need taxes. Without the Federal Reserve, you don't need taxes. At least not individual taxes, tariffs. Guys, Trump is not taking us to the Civil War. He's taken us pre pre-Revolutionary War. Watch and see, guys. I've told you before. Watch Florida. Watch Texas. Watch all of these places. They're going to buy U.S. treasuries and issue a Florida dollar. Mark my motherfucking word. Because Trump's not taking us back to 1776. Trump is taking us back to 1768. The Confederacy. All right, I'm sorry, not the Confederacy. Oh, shit. What? Hyde?
Yes.
Help me out.
Yes.
Pre-Federation, we were the shit. Help me out, guys. Before we were a federalist system, we were a
You mean before the federal government?
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Actually, for a while, we had a black president of the Confederation. Yes, Confed, because we were a confederation before we were a republic.
Yeah, like Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And in the confederation, you have all these different banks. You have all these different currencies, right? New York had its own fucking currency. Florida, for a while, had its own currency. Massachusetts had its own. Yes. Yep. The Articles of Confederation. Well, the reason the Articles of Confederation didn't work was only because of the technology of currency. So let's put it this way. New York, the New York dollar. But New York, the further you got away from New York, the less the New York dollar was worth, because you had the labor of transport, right? And the same thing with Massachusetts, New Jersey, all that shit. What? All right. And action preceded by Magna Carta. Yeah, Magna Carta was earlier. So, yeah, preceded. That's right. Thank you, Dr. Vagisil. I still love that name, Dr. Vagisil. What a great name. It's so where the only reason that the Articles of Confederation didn't work was because we did not have the technology to actually transfer value except in paper and gold. Then in the 1800s, remember 1800s, what did we get? We got the wire, we got the telegraph. Well, as soon as you can exchange information, you can exchange value. And that's when they knew, oh, wait a second, the Article of Confederations can work with this new telegraph shit. Well, that's what Abraham Lincoln was trying to get going, because he knew what was coming. The age of information, the ease of transmission of information. Because all of these friggin' people, You have to understand, when you're president of the United States, you're not planning for next year structurally. Your plan, especially Trump, he's a long fucking game player. He plays long ball. And that's what he's doing. He's replacing the central bank with a confederacy of currency issuers. That's what he's doing. And it will all actually originally be based on treasuries. But in the future, and I'm talking years from now, probably 20 to 30 years from now, the treasuries will be replaced as asset credits, true asset credits. Mark my words, but that's way in the future. Don't worry about it. See, in the future, because all we're doing is going backwards. We look like we're going forward because of the technology, but monetarily, we're going backwards. Because in the future, you will be able to go into your bank here pretty soon, and you can exchange a stable coin backed by the treasury for Bitcoin. And although a stable coin backed by the Treasury Department is pretty decent, the Treasury Department can still just print up fucking treasury bonds. But that system will be replaced because that system, mark my words, folks, it's coming. Initially, we'll have 10% treasury bond that's backed by Bitcoin. And then someone else will launch a treasury bond that's backed by 15% Bitcoin. And then someone will offer a 20%. And before you know it, it will be a 100% Bitcoin bond. And then they will issue the currency actually based on the value of the Bitcoin in the bond. And that's when you no longer have it. What? Say it? A debt-based system. We're going backwards. We're going backwards to truth. Once you realize and once you see the long game, we're replacing the debt with Bitcoin. We're going from a debt-based system to a Bitcoin-based system. It just has to be gradual. Because if you eliminate fiat right now, how many of your friends have a wallet on their phone holding Bitcoin? Not many. I wish there was more. But this is what I'm talking about. A true, honest system. Yes. Bingo. An asset-based system, not a debt-based system. This is where we are going, and that's what the Emancipation Proclamation was originally about. Transferring a system of contracts, which are also known as bonds at the time. That's why if you get put in jail, you post a bond. It's a financial contract agreement. It's a bond. Well, now, over time, all of our treasury bonds you'll have to purchase a treasury bond with Bitcoin. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome to the show. Okay, Now, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I hope you guys all enjoyed. And here, guys, give us a call, 941-413-6920, and get you a Bitcoin loan. Get yourself a Bitcoin loan, which means we get you a loan, and then we help you buy Bitcoin with it. Voila. Up to $250,000 loans. I think the largest one we've had was, well, it might have been actually 250,000. I think. I might be wrong on that, but it's damn close. Right? Get your Bitcoin before all of this goes wow. Because watch for tomorrow, July 22nd. It's the Emancipation Proclamation Trump style. Y'all gonna be free. You just don't know it yet. And all of your stupid friends who say Bitcoin the Ponzi scheme, oh yeah, okay. Have fun staying poor, motherfuckers. They'll learn. They'll learn. Some people are just a little bit slower on the uptake. All right, everyone, please, please take advantage of the programs at our clubs. We can just give us a call and actually learn about all of our programs. Dude, and I'm not exaggerating, we have programs where you can get free Bitcoin. And I don't mean a couple of Satoshis here, a couple of Satoshis there. No, we can leverage your existing Bitcoin, roll that into mining Bitcoin. Now, you never sell your Bitcoin. That's the key. You get to hold on, or you get to own your Bitcoin, get a loan against it, then we roll that into a mining operation that makes you more Bitcoin. And the growth of the Bitcoin actually pays off the loan. So what's that mean? You get free Bitcoin. Welcome to the Michael Saylor plan. Someone says, can we be in other cryptos instead of Bitcoin? Yeah, you can actually be in whatever crypto you want to be, brother. You do you. Ain't my business. Okay, everyone, please like and subscribe. And if you're watching on X right now, retweet that motherfucker, re-exit or whatever they call, whatever the kids are calling it now, repost or whatever. Okay, everyone have a great day and give us a call. Just fucking fight. Guys, it's go time. 941-413-6920. If you do not call and find out about our amazing ways to fucking get yourself rich, you're going to kick yourself in the balls and you're just going to be first in line because your wife's going to kick you in the balls. Your kids are going to kick you in the balls. There's going to be a line just to kick you in the balls in the future for not doing it. Everyone, have a great day. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, the 22nd, the day that shall live in financial infamy. Love you guys. Bye.
For years, banks promised innovation, but they gave us fees and friction and fine prints. Today, all that changes. Introducing Private Key Bank from Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club, the world's first Bitcoin native credit union. Rebuilt from the ground up in the heart of El Salvador, a place where your Bitcoin isn't just stored, it grows. Earn 4% interest paid in Bitcoin. Compounded, secured, and accessible. No middlemen, no hidden games. Just your money working for you. Send funds across borders instantly, without SWIFT codes, without currency conversions. Pay anyone, anywhere, with a tap of a finger. This isn't banking as usual. This is freedom, beautifully engineered. The future of finance is finally here.